Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show coming at you on a Thursday morning or the afternoon, depending on where you are. And as always, joined by Andrew Combo, Sal, to discuss the latest and greatest in the NBA in the first round of the playoffs. We're getting a little bit clearer now in that playoff bracket, which I think is good. I'm looking forward to getting a little bit more concentrated basketball. Combo, what are you feeling these days?
Feeling great, Coach Nick. Feeling great. NBA playoffs in full effect. Some sweeps, some series only went to 5 games, but I think it'll get more and more competitive as we go on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the history of the playoffs has always been the first round's had several sweeps or, gentlemen sweeps in there. This is no different this year. And, I don't know do you feel like the Celtics haven't gotten the kind of hype and love they deserve for having the season they've had?
Because nobody cares.
Nobody cares about.
Nobody cares until we get to like the finals and to see what they do there, or even the conference finals to see what, because I mean, we've seen the Celtics do this for years and then we've seen them fold time and time again. All right, look, I mean, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have been great enough to take them and make them winning teams and even teams that perform well in the playoffs, but they haven't got it done yet. And that's what people want to see, especially with the supporting cast they have around them. The caveat is now is a really important piece just got injured, which is it's going to make things tougher for them.
Right. You're talking about KP.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And we're wondering if he can get back on the court or not. Are they being extra cautious? We don't know. Right. Haven't seen much detail. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I haven't seen much detail either. I heard the injury is similar to what Giannis has, and we see how that's going. So, but I mean, yeah, he brings something different to that team. It's like, when we look at Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they kind of do some of the same things, but they don't have anything that could do quite what Porzingis could do. And I think he was a missing piece in a lot of ways. And it's unfortunate to see him injured, because another thing about Porzingis, he seems so happy this year, right? Whenever you hear him in interviews, whenever you see him on the court. So it really sucks to see him injured.
Oh, absolutely. And I did that video at some point where I showed how he unlocks the top 5 pick and roll duos. He was among, I think, two of the top 5 or 6 with him and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And the reason is that he can pop to 3,
yes.
And there's just no getting a hand up that would actually bother him anyway. So that really causes problems. And then, by the way, he can roll and get and has good hands with the ball on the ground and can finish. So that's really the secret, I think, to what was making them so good. Now, he didn't play like a ton of games this year. They were load managing, and he was beat up a little bit. So there's a lot of other games where the Celtics were able to impose their will on a lot of teams. So it's not like they can't do what they were doing without him. If you watch the game last night, I mean, the game last night was weird. Is it really just Jimmy Butler's absence? I mean, I guess we'll also say Terry Rozier, but is Jimmy Butler really the thing that just sort of rips the heart out of the Heat completely?
Yeah, I think so. I think, playoff Jimmy's a real thing, and they just need more talent on the court at a certain point, right? Like, they hardly had enough talent with playoff Jimmy, who plays like a top 5 NBA player. When you don't have him, it's really tough, man. Like, just you got to look at the roster here. Like, I mean, Hawkes and Jovic are really nice players, but they're so young. And then we got Kevin Love, who's super old, and they're not even as talented as last year. And on top of that, they don't have Jimmy. Like, Jimmy supporting cast is not as talented as last year. And now on top of that, they don't have Jimmy. And last year they were at a talent deficit. So it's just tough.
Right. And they were able to squeak out a 7-game win against the Celtics with Jimmy really leading the way. And that was really interesting. And so I suppose that's the answer is yes, Jimmy is that important. But, I guess he's kind of like Kawhi now. He just simply can't stay healthy through a playoff series, playoff run. And that's going to kill you. It's too bad because I thought, he didn't – if you watch him in the finals last year, like he wasn't the same guy that he was earlier in that in the playoffs in a way that, like, had he been, it might have been a little bit different. But, it's too bad. And, Tyler Hero is nice, but he's not the guy who's going to, really lead you back much beyond, hitting some shots in that one game that they did win. But the bottom line here is that, we talked about the Celtics a little bit in the past, but, they were top 2 in both offensive rating and defensive rating, something that really hasn't ever happened. That's dominance. That's more dominance than we've seen anybody do recently. So can they beat? Oh, and by the way, we have to talk about the Nuggets because does it feel like for the first 3 games against the Lakers, we're like, absolutely, the Nuggets are hitting on all cylinders. They're going to beat whoever they play. The Lakers had them a couple times and they still beat them. So did you have any pause after the last two games versus the Lakers that you feel like maybe there's some cracks in the armor for the Nuggets?
I don't think there's cracks in the armor, but I would say that this T-Wolves matchup is going to be a tough one with Anthony Edwards playing the way he's playing, plus the defense, plus the bigs they could throw at Jokic, even though I think Jokic is going to do Jokic things no matter what. But this will be Denver's toughest matchup. I think this might be a tougher matchup even when they do inevitably beat this T-Wolves team and play the Celtics. I think this matchup is even tougher.
I agree. This will be the toughest thing they've had.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you have a question you want to have answered, we always the best way to do that is a super chat on YouTube. We'll do that. Put out your question on the screen. It will give you a lot of love, and it'll really help us get the show going. So don't forget that. But let's get back to so the matchup with the Timberwolves. This is probably going to be the biggest test they've had. In the last 2 years in playoffs. Now, I suspect that the one thing that we'd have to point to that might be going against the Timberwolves could be experience to some degree.
Yeah.
You have Mike Conley, who's got lots of experience. Rudy Gobert has lots of experience. Anthony Edwards, not so much. And the rest of the guys, Cat, so is that going to be an effect? Is that a thing anymore in today's NBA?
Yeah, I think experience matters, but not because the Timberwolves lack it. It's because Denver is just so great in the clutch. Mm-hmm. And they just seem even more experienced than winning an NBA title. They seem like they play like a dynasty level team when it gets tough end of game situations. Like they've been there for years and years, and they have been there for years. This is homegrown talent. MPJ, Jokic and Murray have been playing together so long, and then Aaron Gordon, obviously he hasn't been there forever, but he just fills gaps so well that they're just so dangerous, and everybody knows what to do in end of game situations.
I mean, for what it's worth, I just figured let's call up the net rating of teams in the clutch this year. And the Nuggets are number one. No surprising, right? They're plus 24.5 in the 40 games they've had with clutch minutes. Mm-hmm. Do you want to know where the Timberwolves rank?
Tell me.
27th, negative 13. So they were not good at all in the clutch. Now, again, does the clutch in the regular season have any influence on on what happens in the playoffs? Now, I suppose we could look at last year and look who the leaders were, and then look how they did in the playoffs. Would that be something interesting?
Yeah.
So if I do this live, hey, why not do it live? So regular season last year, in the clutch, here are the top three. Help me remember this: the top three teams in the clutch in the regular season last year: Philly, Miami, and Denver. Okay. Now let's go to the playoffs last year. In that rating, the top teams in the playoffs: the Knicks, the Heat, and the Clippers. Denver was fourth. Where was Philly? Philly was sixth. So they're still in the upper tier. There is some correlation there. Now if we look at let's look at Minnesota last year, similar team. In the regular season in the clutch last year, the Timberwolves were fourth in the regular season. Oh, sorry, it's preseason. Wow. In the regular season, the Timberwolves were 15th, exactly average in net rating in the clutch. And then you go to the playoffs last year, and they were again 8th, right in the middle. So I don't know, maybe in the very much of a very half-assed version of internet research, there might be a correlation there, and they might not do as well in the clutch. And obviously, that's where these games are going to be decided, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's where Denver does so well. Like even when we look at the two last series versus the Lakers, I mean, there was a joke that it was the closest sweep ever, right? And even this 5-game series, like a lot of the games came down to the clutch, and when it matters most, Denver just steps up.
Absolutely. And and they've shown that. Listen, Jamal Murray twice does game winners against the Lakers. I mean, that's just proven. Yeah. By the way, I didn't even have much of a problem with that shot. Like, people were yelling Rui should be helping, and I know the clock was getting short, but Rui can't really help one pass away. There was enough time he could have just gone boop and gotten a wide open shot, which is interesting. A wide open three at the break, which is a very common shot, or a contested, what was that, 15, 16 footer. That's also an interesting question, because those are two shots that are not, that shot he hit was hard. And I think that they had a pretty good contest by Austin Reeves. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do. I mean, his mid-range game was how his basketball career started, at least from where I remember it, when he was playing in Kentucky, right? Like he was really good in the mid-range, and now in the NBA, he extended it out to the 3 range, but he was always a menace in that area. And yeah, that guy is unguardable, man, when it comes to the playoffs. Like, he never made an all-star game in the regular season, but he just steps up when it matters most. But I would say he didn't have like a super impressive first round. MPJ was the guy that really carried them outside of Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question he struggled. He got beat up a little bit. And then, Jokic looked off as well. So we did see this in the regular season a little bit with Denver, where Jokic had like a 4-game stretch where he was shooting really poorly. And maybe he got sick, or maybe he was a little banged up too. And no one really could explain that one to me. So, but it very quickly went away. People were wondering, oh, maybe this is the real Jokic. And then he just went and started dominating again. They started winning the last half of the season. So I don't think, I think they have some time now to kind of get rested and recovered. So we'll have to see, because obviously the calf thing that Jamal Murray had, that's a thing that doesn't, go away so easily necessarily. So that said, I mean, he played 40 minutes on it and didn't seem to be affected. But I'm a little bit worried about that. But either way, let's talk a little bit about. And by the way, I have another question I was going to ask before, but wait, let's get our first super chat out of the way. Braun, best friend of the breakdown. It's always great to see you, Braun. Let's get on to this one real quick before we change any kind of subjects. So Braun from Canada, thank you so much, Braun. Everybody's talking about the Gobert matchup, but I think it's the Jaylen Murray matchup that's the biggest weapon for Minnesota. My biggest question, can the Wolves offense be as good as the Lakers was? So McDaniels on Murray, so they want to go big and guard Murray with the forward. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that if he is guarding Murray, he'll almost take him out the play, and Denver will just go in other directions, right, with misdirection and playing team basketball. So I could see Murray getting, somewhat mitigated, not all the way shut down, but there's an answer for everything. You can't take away everything, and then the Nuggets will just figure it out and solve the problem at the end of the day. Yeah,
and by the way, like the way they run their back screens and the handoffs, I don't know if it's like. I think they'll be able to get McDaniels trailing Murray on catches. Mm-hmm. And at that point, once he gets you sort of behind or on the side, like that's tough for anybody. But I suppose the argument would be that McDaniels is longer and quicker and can then make up for it. Because we could talk about the Mobley thing too, where Mobley, sometimes he gets beat pretty badly, but then he can recover and like block the shot, which is like one of those next level, lucky for him that he's as talented as he has physically to be able to make those plays where he doesn't necessarily always have to keep the guy in front and do that textbuk defensive stuff.
Wemby does that as well.
Too.
Wemby does that as well, right? Like you go by him, but you still you almost can't even get a layup off with that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you got Rudy on Jokic, which we know I think goes in Jokic's favor traditionally. And then you're going to have let's see, how else are they going to match up?
I want to see who guards Ant Edwards. I'm thinking Aaron Gordon the other way.
You want to go that way? So yeah, I mean, I like that. I like if you do if you do Aaron Gordon, because a bigger, stronger defender who's also very quick is not a bad idea against Anthony Edwards. So how do they match up the rest of the way then? If Gordon's on Edwards, then you got Jokic on Rudy.
Yeah, who's Cat guarding?
Cat has to guard MPJ.
That's tough.
Right? Or wait, yeah. No, how does that work? You know what? I got to write it out because now my brain is fried. Now you've got me. I'm thinking of both ways. All right, so let's just do it in a very systematic order here with Denver. So Denver is going to put AG on Ant, right? They're going to put Rudy on Jokic. Now I'm doing it again. This is what happens. I always screw it up. They're going to put Jokic on Rudy. They're going to put KCP on. Yeah, that's what we're saying. KCP guards. I would think that he would guard Murray, right?
Who, KCP?
Yeah.
Well, Braun thinks Jaden's going to guard him.
Right. Okay. So if you do McDaniels on him, then who does KCP guard? And then who does? Let's see. AG, Jokic, KCP, MPJ, and who am I missing? Who's the fifth starter? Oh my goodness.
On Brown, right? Or he's off the bench.
Starter. Gordon, Jokic, KCP, Michael Porter Jr., and oh my God, why is my brain fried? Someone tell me. God damn it. Let's just go there. I'll let someone in the comments will put it up here. Who am I missing on Denver right now? I'm completely blanking here, and this is embarrassing. Murray. Wait, I said Murray, didn't I?
You did.
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, I see what I did here. Okay. I'm like, you know what? It must be a weird morning. I'm like, okay. AG on Anthony Edwards, Jokic on Rudy. Okay, so we have KCP.
Yeah, it's Murray, KCP, Porter, Aaron, Jokic.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yes.
So we have who we have left. We have Edwards and Rudy taken care of. So on Minnesota, we have left. We have McDaniels, we have Conley, and we have Cat. Okay, so it looks to me like Michael Porter Jr. guards Cat, right?
Yep.
We have KCP on, Conley, and then Murray on McDaniels.
That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because Murray could probably hide a little bit because McDaniels doesn't do a lot in their offense in that respect. Like, unless they want to try and get him to do something on that to attack and get a foul. So that works for me. KCP on Conley, I guess. I'm thinking they're going to put KCP. Oh, here's the other problem is KCP I don't even know if he can even walk, right?
Yeah.
So that's
every team is banged up at this point.
Yeah. So if they can get KCP somewhat normal, I would have thought he would have guarded Anthony Edwards. But if not, I guess you'd almost have to put him on McDaniels where he's not going to have to deal with a lot of on ball stuff. So maybe that's what they do if they put KCP on McDaniels. That means Murray on Conley. That all works out pretty well, and they have a couple guys off the bench who can play D. So that works out. I'm not. I don't think that is an issue. I think Denver can match up okay with these guys, and they have some. Flexibility there. So now, will the Wolves' offense be as good as the Lakers was?
I mean, when you have AD and LeBron seemed tired at times, but both of them are really good during that series, and they don't have the top end talent like those two, I believe. But you do have Anthony Edwards, who's younger,
right? And he's playing well. I got to check how efficient he was in the playoffs. Anthony Edwards,
he had one off game.
Yeah, but he shot 51% from the field, 44% from three.
He shot 44% from three.
Yeah, on 8 attempts. If I'm looking, hang on. Yeah, in the playoffs this year.
What's crazy? MPJ shot 48% from three on volume.
Yeah. Okay, and it's a different team. I mean, not like Denver is like completely locked down defensively, but they're smarter, they're better, so they will make it a little bit harder on him. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely Anthony Edwards putting his mark on the playoffs. This should be a great series to see him do his thing. So I think that they can be good offensively as well. I think they can definitely hurt the Nuggets defense.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Let's get to Alan Tran. Thank you, Alan. Great to see you. Thank you so much. Best friend of the breakdown. Jimmy High Roller just put out a video detailing why Murray is statistically one of the greatest playoff performers ever. His box plus minus is top 50 all time. I mean, it's like the playoff Rondo, right? By the way, it's funny. It has to be a lead guard to do that, right? Because if you're a big guy, you got to, like Anthony Davis, he goes up and down because he has to rely on someone to give him the ball in the spots that he needs to get out score, right? Unless you're the guy who's like controlling the offense, it's really hard to be one of these guys. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and I heard Chris Broussard said that he's going to be a Hall of Famer if he does something. I should have the exact quote before I say it, but I mean, yeah, if they win a championship this year, I think that pretty much. He's the second best player on a championship team 2 years in a row. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, I would love him to make an All-Star team. He hasn't made one All-Star team.
Nah.
So I think it would be nice to kind of get that all taken care of.
I mean, I think that'll happen eventually.
Right. I don't know. Has he made any All NBAs? I so rarely pay attention to all that kind of stuff. But let's see, Jamal Murray. I don't even know. Let's see. All rookie once. That's all he made. So it looks like. It would be. I think he'd probably have to make one of those teams, which means he's going to have a regular season at some point that's really good, right? Yeah. It seems like he'd have to have one really good one that's not like injury or load managed or whatever. But there's no question that he's one of the greatest playoff performers, and they owe their title last year. And as much as Jokic was great, he was great. And same this year, right? They've already gotten 2 wins out of him from
every Jordan needs a Pippen, right?
Yeah, and every Pippen needs a Jordan. Yeah, I think that kind of works both ways.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, let's just talk really quickly. I'm throwing this out there because I got nice audience here. Some of these videos aren't doing so great in the playoffs, and I'm kind of trying to wrap my head around why. So I'm like opening it up there on the comments. Maybe if you're on Twitter, throw me at some mentions. Maybe I'll even try and find them, put them up or something. But give me some insight. What's going on? Why aren't people watching more of these videos? I want to make sure that I'm making content that you guys want to see and that it's presented the way you want to see it. So, give me some insights if you can, please. I will gladly, take any and all suggestions. I'm laughing. Someone, let's see, TXFU is making fun of me that I think every live show I do this. What am I doing? I have to look for stats while I'm talking. Is that what I'm doing every live show? Probably is what he's talking about. Or I'm forgetting a player completely. One of those two things. But yeah, so here's one. You made a video on the Magic. Nobody cares about that NBA TV series. Okay, so that might explain it. And I haven't done Magic content much recently. Maybe that's because of it. Okay, I need to make shorts. Okay.
Yeah, I think I told you that, Coach Dick, right?
I tried to make some shorts, and I kind of felt like they didn't do well at all. And it was almost like either you do all shorts or you do all long form. But I guess
I think shorts are great for discoverability.
Thumbnails and timing also. Well, listen, I mean, the thumbnails, I always gotten a pretty healthy click-through rate, so I feel like I'm kind of doing that okay. Timing, I guess, is interesting. I've released videos at all manner of different times, and I never really been able to figure out a perfect through line for like what time to release. Nothing ever seems.
They say weekdays around 5.
What? Who's they?
People I talk to.
That's when I do it. Well, I usually try and do like weekdays.
Why'd you say what? Like that was a crazy take. I think that's like
I don't know. Like who's they? Like where did you see that? I haven't seen that. But
people like YouTube creators that I reach out to. That's like the general consensus.
Right. Well, if I make a shorts channel separately, then I'm gonna segment my audience. It doesn't seem to work. That's not.
I think that you should create shorts with the videos that you made, but obviously you format it different in a vertical matter, right? It's a different format, and then you make a whole bunch. I think it could grow the channel.
Well, listen, it's been a weird thing because like the subscribers don't go anywhere anymore, but the views have been growing, so that was like all I care about. But it's interesting. Arcavian's telling me the algorithm isn't telling us when your videos drop, even though you have the notifications on. I imagine. I hope that would be part.
Maybe you got to stress that more.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, whenever if I ask for subscribers, sometimes I get them, but if I have a good video, I get them anyway. So it's not, I've never been able to see a direct correlation, but I'll ask for a subscriber. I'll put the thing that says, click the subscribe button at least. Bill Simmons, if you notice, releases an emergency podcast right after big games. By the time we wake up, he gets a lot of unique viewers. Yeah. All right. You know what? Maybe I'll try that. Should I try doing a game breakdown right after the game's over? I guess that would be the answer.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I could try that. Maybe I'll do an early game so it's not like I'm up at 2 or 3 in the morning.
You know what? I mean, you could even start working on it during the game, right? Getting the highlights together.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to do a little bit of that. So maybe I'll try that next one. So Arcavian's saying subscribe with the bell and everything. It's still nothing. That, by the way, makes a lot of sense to me. It definitely seems like the view velocity is not there. And eventually they get there. That's the other thing. It's longer to get the normal views. So anyway, but I'm the game breakdown, I guess what you're saying is right after the game is what people would want to do. Maybe it would be shorter then and more focused. Does that sound like interesting? Like really not quite like what you'd see as a highlight on ESPN, but just like a longer Legler style segment or something like that like you'd see.
Yeah, that makes sense, I think.
Yeah.
I like the idea of game breakdowns right after, because people even when I watch a game, right, sometimes you're thirsty for a little more. You're like, damn, it ended. I want to be involved with this for even longer,
Yeah. All right. So let me write this down. That's a good idea. All right. I'm going to try this. This is great. I listen, I hope you guys aren't,
That was a great, who gave that? Who gave that?
Which
comment?
one?
That was really good.
Direct Williams seems like he's got the thing here.
Put it on the screen. That's a great suggestion.
Let me give you a good one from him. I don't know. How about that one? The YouTube algorithm. And by the way, if you want to
that one's good too. That one's good too, but that's not the one I was talking about. But that's
okay.
That's actually my exact advice to you, actually. But so that's great too. But
this one?
No, the one where it's like he's talking about breakdowns right after the game.
Oh, okay. It was more the more recent one. Oh no. See, the problem with preview videos is like they're old before they even drop. By the time I drop them and the game starts, like no one's gonna ever watch that another again. This is the one I think you want. But yeah, Direct, if you wouldn't mind, email me. Let's talk. It's easy to find me on coachnick@bballbreakdown.com. I would love a little bit more insight into what the viewers are dealing with and what's some of the challenges, so I could get more content that you guys want to see. So let's see here. Here's another one.
Does he have a camera in that? Maybe he could come videotape you.
Let's see. Here's maybe more creative titles. Like a good one was Nuggets play LeBron. Listen, I workshop these titles. I really try and nail them. And sometimes I throw up my hands and be like, I don't know, how about full highlights 2024 or whatever. But all right, I will try to keep doing more creative titles and continue to refine the thumbs. But I don't know. I do feel like I wonder why, more of the viewers I already have are not instantly watching these. So, it does seem like there are certain teams, right, that are less interesting to people across the board. Magic might be one of them. But, like, for instance, the SGA video, that didn't do so well. I don't know why. I thought SGA is popular on trending, is big,
I don't know.
The question is when the title. I started wondering if I'm doing too many questions, honestly, for the titles, honestly. But I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's a very I think it's general. I think everybody does it. So when everybody starts doing it, doesn't mean as much anymore.
Interesting. All right. Well, you know what? I got another super chat. Let's get to here. Where is it? Okay. Andrew, best friend of the breakdown. Great to see you, Andrew. Thank you so much. Ant replaced Booker as a Team USA starter. What do you expect? Who do you expect to win?
Is that? Thank you for the super chat. Is that official?
I don't know. I was about to go look and see the most recent roster because Embiid was on that, right? Then they offer he's going to play, and now there's no way he's playing, right?
He shouldn't play. He shouldn't be playing now.
Yeah, and there's somebody else too who's too beat up to play, but Ant should be on that team without question, and so I guess I would expect the USA to win, but obviously as we've seen recently, nothing is guaranteed, and LeBron is old. Doesn't play defense like he used to play. And these guys on the other teams are going to play hard and they're going to play really well. And if you can't get stops, I don't know how that's going to work. Steph is, getting a little older too. So I don't know. I would say it's probably like 80-20, but there's definitely a path where they don't win.
You know what I was thinking about the other day, Coach Nick?
Yeah.
That having such a huge country like we do has its advantages because you have a deeper pool of talent, but the disadvantage is you can't build chemistry over the years because you can't get a group of guys together for long periods of time. And in these smaller countries, the teams have their players together from a very young age and they grow up together.
Yeah, this is a great point. By the way, here's interesting. Rezi is upset because we're not talking about the Celtics, but I think this is a good point. We started talking about Celtics. The title of this is about the Celtics, and what happens within 3 minutes? Maybe a super chat, whatever. But we're suddenly off of the Celtics because I don't know. There's something weird about this team that it doesn't engage in a long form conversation. Can we try one more time to talk more about the Celtics a little bit and what we're thinking? I mean, I was going to talk about them matching up with the Nuggets.
All right. So how would you grade Missoula's season? How much of this is because of their personnel? How much of this dominance is because of Mazzulla? He seems to be a math guy. Cares a little bit less about the emotional aspect of basketball. They've been shooting more threes. What do you think, Coach Dick? Since you want more Celtics.
I think it's hard because of the regular season the way it is. Teams don't even practice hardly anymore, so it's really hard to know what effect the coaches end up having. So Darvin Ham, he's getting some.
Barkley had something to say about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are some select people who are speaking up for him now, right? I think we're all sensing that at any moment, he might get fired. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So Booker just kind of talks about it's in the details, and he never really mentioned it's the coaches. And then there's a narrative spun that he's blaming the coaches. I think Devin Booker, and I don't have his quotes verbatim, was talking very generally about the problems that the team has, and he wasn't throwing anybody under the bus. Mm-hmm. But then when media gets a hold of it, they're saying he's throwing his coaches under the bus when he never really said anything bad about the coaches.
Isn't that amazing? I tried to talk about the Celtics for a minute, and within 2 seconds, we're right back on talking about something completely else. Isn't that amazing? Although we went from Mazzulla. Yes. Here's the thing I think we have to reckon with is that, again, every NBA coach right now will tell you that they don't really practice at all, hardly at all.
That's since the pandemic, I think.
Yeah. What? Yeah, exactly. As a result, it's really okay, what are you going to do? What kind of influence can you have? You can go over film, which I'm sure they do a lot of that. But if you don't go over film and then get on the court right away and walk through it and get sweaty and doing it, I don't know how well that translates to a lot of players. So again, we talked really quickly about the LeBron. Coaching a LeBron team is not so easy. You don't really have autonomy as a coach. So Missoula, on the other hand, it's tough because they already have a team. They've been playing together for a long time, which is a huge advantage over everybody else. Plus, the sheer talent level they had on that team is overwhelming for anybody but a couple teams. So, of course, they're going to dominate. Like, that shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody all year long. But the lens we need to look at this is through the playoffs. Can they get to the conference finals? Can they get to the finals? Is a conference finals appearance and losing there success? Probably not, right? This is a finals or bust team, wouldn't you say?
Here's a video. Why does nobody care about the Celtics?
Okay.
You think
you won't watch any other video about the same subject? I guess. I don't know.
You think drop a comment. You think that's engaging? I don't know
because I just did one. Are the Celtics for real? Where was that one? I know I did that one not long ago. Here. Are the Celtics titles contenders in March 8th? So that's, a little less than 2 months ago. It did okay. Not amazing. By the way, I think I had a great thumb too on that one.
Well, you wouldn't put out any thumb if you didn't think it was great, right?
Well, you mean I wouldn't put out the video if I didn't think it was great?
No, you would have put out any thumb that you don't think is great. Of course, you think they're all great.
Sometimes thumbs are hard. You can't find the right thing. It's 35 minutes, 40 minutes. It's like I can't take any longer.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So that one was particularly good. That was a good picture. It's Jason Tatum. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. But keep coming with the suggestions or whatever, and let me know. Give it to me straight. Like, what is what is it that you guys need to see? Am I making too many videos? Are they too close together? Are they stepping on each other? Is that part of it? Every year I do every day, even the playoffs.
They play a lot of 5-out offense. Do you think lack of like a rim rolling big? Even Porzingis doesn't roll that hard to the rim. He's more of a spacer. Do you think that'll be tougher and tougher for the Celtics to get their offense off against a set defense when there's no internal gravity?
It could be. I mean, I think that there's also maybe like a little bit of 3-point shot selection problem too.
Well, yeah. I mean, Tatum definitely hunts tough threes.
Yeah, and so you end up getting stuck in like that different mode where they don't see the role when they could be there. I don't know. I guess I got to see them against some better comp. I mean, I did the one breakdown I think of, or I was watching at least a couple of the games with when Miami beat them with the zone and stuff. It wasn't great, but like they adjusted pretty quickly and they figured it out. And Derek White is becoming a different person.
It's
Derek
funny
White,
as you said that. I'm watching Celtics highlights in the background, and Derek White cuts to the basket for dunks 2 times. So he's almost like doing some big man stuff while he's doing all the guard stuff as well. It's really
and he blocks shots. You know what I mean? He's really terrific. I pulled him aside once. I don't know if I told you the story. 2018, maybe he was with the Spurs, and I went to a Spurs-Knicks game in Madison Square Garden, and I was waiting for coaches afterwards, and he was there. And I kind of pulled him aside. I just said, I'm a coach, and I really, really love the way you play. And I think it was a time when Pop wasn't playing him. It was weird. And I couldn't. And I told him that. I think I said, I don't understand. Like, you should be out of the court. You should be starting. And I was wondering, are they trying to keep his value down so they can sign him again? It was weird at that time because there was, the Derek White fan club. I was a card carrying member even back then in San Antonio. So to see him, it's rare to see a guy like that as a role player, then find just so often times now where he's been able to really like lead the team, and be the main focus of that offense like that. It's been fabulous. Maybe I can do a video on him or something, but I don't know. What I have noticed, if I do a video where I focus on multiple players on different teams, those don't do very well.
I'll tell you a title that will do good.
What?
Why the Celtics won't win a championship this year?
You're gonna go negative, yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff works on the internet. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's interesting, and I guess I have to figure out what the answer to that would be. But I actually want to look at that. I feel like and people are saying that they're boring, and I get it. The NBA should be a little bit concerned about the boredom factor, right? The way the games are played. Like I feel like I was watching even a playoff game where we went back. It was wild, but it was like 3 or 4 3-point misses in a row, and that just feels weird to me.
Ambient. As Seth Parnell told me, the NBA has become ambient. Not enough starts and stops. It's just kind of guys like running up and down in the gym, getting shots up. But that's more regular season than postseason. Yeah. I would say the Mavs are fun to watch.
The Mavs are fun. Yeah. I mean, Kyrie every time he touches the ball, you're going to see something amazing.
Did he get like a little more like flexible and agile recently? It's like he didn't age. He didn't age. That's for sure.
Well, he had to do that because Luka was a little bit off and seemed like sluggish, and so he took over. I mean, and then it was great because Luka complains way too much. It's ridiculous. There's no question, and I think it starts to affect his game a little bit. But there was a moment when Kyrie got like the steal and he went out coast to coast. Maybe got fouled. They had to call timeout, and Kyrie just started like kind of laughing at him and like got him out of that where he started smiling again. And it was really great to see like Kyrie, because Kyrie hasn't always had the best reputation as being a great teammate. But I think that maybe he's figured some things out, and I think his teammateness now is at an all-time high. And I think that that's going to be a real key for the Mavericks of all teams to make a push. And maybe, I mean, they are tough. The things they did, I know that the executive of the year didn't go to the Mavericks, but what their pieces they added in the middle of the season were huge for them in terms of athletic ability and size needed in the front court. It really has changed that team.
Finding players on bad teams that could really help winning teams is an underrated skill when it comes to front offices.
Yeah. Here's another one. I'll just throw it up there. Thoughts on Awful Coaching Channel. Did we talk about it? I think we mentioned. Are you aware of awful coaching?
Yeah, you made me aware, and then I saw a few clips on the internet. Yeah,
and not to like legitimize the guy any more than he already might be, but it's entertaining. There's no question it's entertaining. He's not right on like half the things he says, and he's like he's coming from a weird. I'm trying to figure out like what his coaching background is or how he knows things. And it's from 15 years ago is what some of the things he's espousing. But by the way, I'm thinking maybe I should do some of those. Should I scream so loud that I redline the mic?
As long as you're being true to yourself.
Yeah, I used to do them a little bit more like that. By the way. So I could not like I was screaming and ranting and raving like a madman, but I used to get
just be ready for the comments saying that you're trying to be like awful coaching.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm telling you, I used to do it, but I agree. I can't say that he's doing me because I didn't do it like that ever. But there's a little bit of fun, like, oh God, that's the old school coach here, from the time well gone. But
do you enjoy his videos?
No, if my wife hears in the background, she just can't. She gets really upset because it's just grating, and I get it. It's like if you have good hearing, it's like the frequency is rough. But I watch it like a car wreck. Honestly, is how I watch those.
Yeah, I never seen a full video actually.
I don't think I can't watch the whole thing. It's too much. Anyhow, we have Joe B. Thank you so much, Joe. Heat fan here. My expectations were already low, and frankly, I'm surprised we were even able to get a game off of Boston. The real test for the Celtics starts now. I don't know if it starts now. Do you think that either the Magic or the Cavs have anything to offer against them?
No.
I mean, maybe the Cavs defensively could, but by the way, I got into it, the whole Mobley thing, right?
You got into it on Twitter?
Well, yeah, I released that little section where I was like, they're going at Mobley and they're scoring a lot of points on him. That's what got him back into games 3 and 4. And then game 5, I think Mobley saw it because he guarded Banchero down the stretch. He has the game-winning block, right? And on Franz. And listen, they're right. Like he is a good defender. He definitely is a good defender. And at some point, though, like he needed to be a little bit better. Like he needed to stop some of these shots that were going in or the fouls. But so I was able to talk to some Cavs fans. I think I got them off the ledge because they were coming at me. Oh, that's fine. I was willing to say I was wrong, and I didn't even know if I said I was wrong. I acknowledge that he's a good defender. I just thought that maybe there's a conversation about like maybe the reputation is a little bit more than he was, but nuance doesn't exist on Twitter. But at some point I was like, well, I wonder what would have happened if Franz just chose a different shot than the same foot inside hand finish on that. Can you picture the shot I'm talking about?
Yeah, a little bit. I like I like Franz's options as a finisher. He's one of the more underrated like finishers and like footwork in the lane players in the league. Like he has a lot of junk in his game. Yeah.
So, he goes left and he beats him. And again, like we talked about earlier, like Mobley gets beat, but then he can recover. And by the way, within an inch of knocking that ball after that hits the rim where it would have been goaltending, right? And so, and by the way, before that, he had a couple of really good possessions of defense too. So he already had established that. And then I was thinking, well, what would have happened if they would have gone at him, blown by him, scored the layup on him? I just and that enraged the Cavalier fans again, just even asking that question because he has success with that inside hand finish. I think even against Mobley early in the series.
Mhm.
But it does feel like maybe it's the lefty, a little lefty off the right foot off the glass. It gets off easier, and
Right.
it would go in. But I don't know. We'll never know. But I guess Game 6 will be the big one. I did, by the way. So, and everyone started throwing me the stat in my face about Mobley guarding Banchero, and just I went through it just before we started the show because I don't trust a lot of times those the tracking stats because they don't always sort of know exactly what's going on in the court. And I was generous with like 2 or 3 attempts that he took, that Banchero took, where Mobley had come over, but he was not the primary defender. But I thought on at least 2 of them, I was really generous. I'm like, yeah, he really wasn't part of it, but he got there in the area. So I gave it to him. But they were still short 1 attempt, so they had him at 30 and I have him at 31. So I think, let me write that out. Did I write it out?
I mean, doesn't this happen all the time with even real stats in the NBA? Like you could go through the blocks and it'll be off. You go through the assists. Yeah. I remember I was playing with a guard overseas and his average assists at home was so much higher than on the road. And there was a reason for that.
Yeah. Well, and that's different too. But when you're talking about defensive stuff, which is not verifiable without, your eyes, that gets me a little bit concerned. And so I had 10 for 31, which is not good. But here's the thing they're forgetting. He also drew 3 fouls and scored, 4 points out of the 6 free throws he got against those. That's something we got to add to it. It's not just, the field goal attempts. So overall, though, yeah. And by the way, Banchero is not ready for this. He is really good. I still think he's going to get on that trajectory, and he's finding himself. But the way they're running their offense, his shot selection is suboptimal at best. And this will be one of those moments where I'm hoping that like the Magic will take it for what it is, get a lot of experience. I don't think they're going to win the series. It doesn't feel that way. They lost Game 5, and that's pretty much a determining factor. But they'll take it in. They'll hopefully upgrade the roster a little bit or a lot over the offseason, and then he'll come back really ready to go. So it's a mixture of a bunch of different things. Franz has been taking. We got to do the Franz against Mobley. I think that might be a little bit more in the Magic's favor.
Yeah, I like Franz's game actually better than Paulo's, even though there's a great argument to say that Paulo's their best player. But yeah, he needs some more experience. He needs to develop the way he reads the game a little bit more. The shooting looks wonky at times.
Yeah.
But obviously, and also he doesn't have the quickest feet. I know he's 6'10", so like how much do you expect to him? Like not everybody's LeBron.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
He's going to be a good player, but I don't know. There's experience issues there, I think, at this point. And also then the shooting with the Magic, they just don't have enough of it to go deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And his rhythm is not optimal either. And that I'm telling you, somebody could help him, in 3 or 4 weeks and get him nailing those shots. He goes into the bag. He's got the bag, but he's just not ready to make those turnaround fadeaways from 15 that you see LeBron do after he's cut off,
Right.
Yeah, we're talking about that. Yeah. So Banchero, he has the move, but he's just not ready to consistently make them, I don't think, in the playoffs, in the fourth quarter or when you need them. So Andrew Drews, thank you so much, Andrew. Back. Do a Kyrie video. His game is artsy. Do you see a Dort? Oh, I'm going to write that down. I love Kyrie, and he's such an artist. Kyrie video. All right. I don't know exactly what that video is going to be, but how do you see a Dort Doncic matchup? Ooh. Now, Dort doesn't have the size.
Did Kyrie get more athletic?
Did Kyrie get more athletic? I don't know. But
he has more dunks this season than.
Yep. What happened to your mic, man?
Oh, you can't hear me?
No, I can, but now it sounds like it's your computer mic.
All right, go ahead. Keep talking. I'll fix it.
Okay. So the Dort Doncic matchup. Yes, I think that Dort is going to annoy the F out of Doncic. I think Doncic is going to get technical fouls complaining about Dort, and I think Dort's going to be drinking in the tears happily. That said, I do feel like because he's so much bigger than Dort, he'll be able to leverage that and probably and be able to score as well. But that's going to be a fantastic matchup when we get to that part. If we get to that part, we got to find out first. I feel like the Mavericks though will, they also won that Game 5, which is it's 80% the chance they're going to win. So that'll be exciting to see that. So, the Mavericks Thunder will be intriguing, but not obviously as intriguing as Nuggets Timberwolves. And the other side, the Knicks and Sixers, that's been a really great playoff series. Right? I know we talk about that more than anything else. But,
yes. I'm on the good mic, right?
You're on the good mic.
Okay,
yes.
Here we go. Let me ask you this. It was interesting. Did you see that Tyrese Maxey logo 3?
Yes.
So as a basketball player, I was taught by many coaches when a player is that far out, you try and go under. The thing was he went over and it was almost like extended drop coverage,
Right.
and he knocked it down from 50. Was that the right way to guard him at that point? But on top of that, I don't think there was anything you could do with the player who's that hot, right? At the same time.
It's really, the real problem was the three before that, the 4-point play, because he traveled before he got hit.
Well, what do you think about? I want to hear your thoughts on that play. Do you usually go under? Would that have changed anything?
Yeah.
Because he still would have had it.
So you're up by 3, you want to foul, right? You should take the foul. Now you want to take the foul under 10 seconds though. So he did it fast enough where he already got into the front court and was pulling from beyond the logo at exactly 10 seconds. And you see Tibbs calling for the foul.
Yeah.
And so at that point, you foul earlier then, because you can't give that up. And that was probably
nobody thought he'd shoot it from there though. So that's a hard thing to say. Right?
I call Deuce a rookie. I have no idea why in my video. You know what happens? I get sometimes so tired, honestly, and I've been working so hard and watching so many games that I literally I've fallen asleep in the middle of recording the voiceover, and it sounds like I'm drunk. I'm play it back. I'm like, what the hell? So I don't know what happened on that one, but Deuce could have fouled him at half court, and at that point, maybe that's the lesson learned is extend the game a little bit longer, because then you're actually adding at least one more possession that you didn't want to have when you foul that early. But it was a long shot. So give him tip your cap on that one. I guess that was a tough one.
Josh Hart free throws. I was thinking that about, I don't know, 2-3 games ago, I was talking about Josh Hart is hitting shots, but his energy transfer is just off. I tweeted about it. And I think that's a big reason why he'll never be consistent if he keeps shooting the way he does, even though he has the ability to make big shots. It's almost like he wills them in some games, but the free throws were an issue in this one.
Yeah. Believe me, it's, by the way, just, between you and me and everybody else here, I'm making it my, I'm gonna make that my mission this summer to help him see if he can do that. So there's no question I'm preparing all that for him. So the rhythm is the key. Rhythm is the key for shooting. There's no reason why you want to have 2 different rhythms, one for a free throw, one for a jump shot. And once we start optimizing for the jump shot, it helps the free throw and vice versa. So, I think there's also a little bit of nerves. I think, Josh Hart might have been a little bit nervous on those.
I think it's more science.
You think it's more science? All right. I mean, I think science is, nerves is science. The brain.
Yeah. Sorry. I meant the mechanics of the way he shoots, which obviously the nerves could fix. But I think, what's his free throw percentage?
Yeah. I'm looking that up right now.
Yeah.
Which is why I guess I do every show. Josh Hart's free throw percentage this year was 79%.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I think it could be a lot better.
And by the way, the more optimal you make it anyway, the more chances you have to make it in those pressure situations when you need to do it. Coaching did a great job on Missoula with the stinker game against the Heat. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Please do a video on JB Bickerstaff's horrendous coaching. The Cavs need a replacement. I haven't been impressed. I've been saying that it's weird to watch a playoff series when you don't have a top 15 player on the court. And part of it is because they're both are just sort of running offense, and it's there's no singular player who's driving, creating gravity. But maybe I'm responding to coaching as well, or to how they're playing. The Magic offense is frustrating to me for the most part. I got to do a deeper dive into it and really study the half court stuff. But
just don't. I mean, I think that's personnel with the spacing.
Yeah, I guess that's you're right. The spacing is part of it, but there's a lot of ISOs, which it is what that is. My preference is not for that many ISOs, and that's why with the Clippers I get a little bit worried about that. But I can look at that. I'll look at that a little bit. Anything else I miss? Okay. Well, I don't know. I think Nick, why do I hate Westbrook?
Oh, we're gonna do this now.
Have we done this before?
Yeah, they always ask you this. Well, it's just it's a vicious cycle.
Well, I did a video on the Clippers. So to explain myself,
anyway, you could just not like the way certain players play basketball. It's okay,
Okay. Well, thank you. Can you pat me give me a pat on the shoulder? Well, thank you. Now, that is true, but then it becomes this weird thing where I'm a hater. So what happened was I showed how the Clippers got the huge lead, and then I showed how the Mavericks got the lead, eliminated the lead. And they basically got back to even, and Russ had 4 straight possessions that were bad. So I showed that because it felt like that was the culmination of this comeback to how they got there. And then I went to the crunch time. I wish it wasn't Westbrook, but he just happened to be the guy who was making those plays. And that said, he makes those plays all the time. So why do I not enjoy watching him play? Because he doesn't play like a coach would want anybody to play. And he finished some shots at the rim last night that I got nervous at. He makes me nervous now when he goes to the basket. And I think most people must get nervous now because he misses a lot of those shots. But he made some that were big, although they were already down, and it was over. But he's just making them. It's kind of frustrating when you watch him because he's never really gotten better on that. And when he was really overwhelming athletically, then you could mitigate some of those mistakes. It wasn't so bad, but I always felt like those mistakes were still going to be a problem, and they were going to come up in really bad times, as they did. And as a result, like, those teams didn't always achieve what they could have. So that's it. I don't hate Westbrook. I bet you I would like hanging out with him. He seems like a really funny guy. I don't hate anybody like personally. It's just the way he plays. What's worse, the SGA Chet commercial or the Wingstop no flex commercial? Yeah, I was embarrassed for the Simmons. He doesn't even know that they're saying no flex zone. Like, at least you should be able to figure that part out, right? No matter how disconnected I might be to, either that music or whatever, I certainly could say that they're saying no flex zone. In fact, I looked it up because I'm like, are they talking about zone defense and flex offense? Like, this is exciting.
Right.
But I figured it out. I guess Google enlightened me what that means. And by the way, I like that. No flex. No flex seems to be a good thing, and a good way to live your life, wouldn't you say?
Sometimes you got to flex on people, though, Coach Nick.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You got to let them know. You got to let them know once in a while, not all the time. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, so let's get back to this. I'll put it up here. We might. Let's give some of the regular comments some love. Why not? Let's do that today. So what's worse, the SGA Chet commercial? So, by the way, the other problem, here's how, and by the way, I had young kids. I know the music that they're listening to pretty well. Britney Spears, not Britney Spears. Taylor Swift and all that stuff. But SGA Chet, I'm like, what is this song that they're singing? I don't even understand it. But apparently it's Christina Aguilera's song about what a girl wants, right?
Yeah.
You don't know anything about pop culture either. Are you aware of the song?
I'm more into hip hop than pop culture.
Okay, so
but hip hop often becomes pop. But go ahead.
What a girl needs, whatever makes me happy, yada yada, sets me free. Okay. So I didn't realize that, even though I know I must have heard that song at some point in the car and the kids take over the radio. But I was impressed that they were willing to do that. SGA and Chet were willing to sound like that and do that and kind of be, I don't know if it's cringe or whatever, but hey, they could have said, no, we're not going to do this. We'll do something else. And they would have been like, sure, please just be in the shot.
That's one of Chet's on a rookie contract. Not saying it's nothing. A lot goes to taxes. I'm saying maybe SGA, but Chet's in a position where he wants to get some chicken.
All right, either way, but props to like them being vulnerable and willing to sing a song that and they changed the words that were interesting and I don't know and they didn't and even he says we were a little flat, we'll be better, right? Like, hey, like, so I guess that's the point, was that they were being real and human, authentic. That's what sells, and that's great. So but it definitely is a little cringy and a little annoying. Now the Wingstop commercial is also annoying. But can we figure out which one is worse? Here's the thing. We're talking about both of these. That tells you that this is genius marketing here, right?
I thought the SGA Chat one was good.
You know what the best ad out there is right now?
What?
The best one probably in the last 20 years.
The Google commercial I was in?
Okay. Besides that one, by the way, those are awesome. And make sure you check out Combo as the construction worker for sure. You should be in the Village People without question. Now, no, but aside from that, the Village People, there's the construction worker, that's you. Anyway, the best commercial of all time, I think, for the last 20 years is BK, have it your way. That's awesome. I can't stop singing that one.
I think there's ones more catchy than that. They're not off the top of my head.
Then they're not as catchy. BK,
no, they are.
They're not even singing great. It's
there's. I got to think of it, man. There's ones more catchy. I'm telling you.
Anybody else? So anyway, so either way, the fact that we're talking about it means that they're wildly successful beyond anyone's belief. Even if you think it's cringe or whatever, like that doesn't matter. The point was,
give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break of that Kit Kat bar.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Like, where's the beef? Okay, that one was the best one of all time. Then do you even know that? Does anybody here in the chat know where's the beef?
No.
No?
No.
Wow. Somebody please tell me they know where's the beef in the chat. I'll even put it on the screen if you know what that is. Then don't look it up, please. Just in reality, if you know what it is. Being in basically that's what I am. I'm in advertising, right? Like I do these ads I put in my videos, and I basically sometimes have to make a video to put an ad in there, right? So and I have a little bit of that background of being able to make write stuff that is catchy and all that stuff and catching your eye. And so I definitely have an eye towards like what's going on now in commercials, and I enjoy. That was a great question. I like to talk about that stuff too. We got to talk about Jaylen Brown's free throws. I got to go. I know I went through this a while back. I feel like there was an issue, but then I think he got it straightened out a little bit, and he was better, right? Yeah. But I'll have to look at that because maybe I can do something on Twitter for that. Because I'm trying to remember. Let's see. He shot in the regular season. 70%, which is not good. And he was 35% from three, which would indicate it should be higher. In the playoffs, even though some of these games are not really like, engaging for him, he's shooting 45%. Wow. That's interesting. I might have to look into that real quick. Nobody knows where's the beef, huh? Amazing. I'll tell you. I guess I'm going to tell you. No one's going to weigh in here and where's the beef. Wow. That's really crazy. Where's the beef was a Wendy's commercial. And they were making fun of like McDonald's and Burger King because like, their burgers were not, the tiny little piece of meat on this big bun, so this old lady was like, where's the beef? Clara Peller. Even that Clara Peller became a household name in the 80s for that. So that was probably one of the best ones. I like to teach the world to drink a Coke, from the 70s. Now that one was a big one. Anyway, what else can we talk about? Did we cover everything?
I think we did, Coach Nick.
And we covered my channel. What did we come up with? What was the thing? Shorts, I think, was a big suggestion.
Well, shorts is huge. I told you that, Coach Nick. But I also think you just talking about the game right after the game and getting it out as fast as possible.
That deserves a finger wave. Okay. So I'll try that. Maybe
well, if I was you, I would have the laptop out while you're watching the game, getting the highlights together, and then you could do it right after.
Look at combo. Look at you. Wow, that's awesome. That's the best advice you've ever given me. I think. Isn't it?
I give you great advice weekly.
I'm not saying you don't, but like I think you just went to another level right there.
Yeah, that's true. I'm always taking things to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, there's advice that's a good advice, and there's like really useful advice that could do something. So okay, what are the games today? Let's talk about those really as we wrap this up.
Knicks versus Sixers. Wow. Knicks will close it out, but it's a late game, so you'll be up late.
Oh, it is a late game, but it's late, but not late for me.
Not late for you.
So that's okay. But you're right. Like, I don't know if I want to drop a video at midnight on Eastern.
Oh, no. You schedule release it, not preview, but schedule release it for 6 a.m.
Oh, I see. Now, but how about this? If I did the Bucks Pacers, then I could release that during the Knicks Sixers game.
You could do that too.
But I don't think I want to do the Bucks Pacers. No offense.
Well, if you feel like it's not worth your time, how hard is it? How long does it take to make a 10-minute video?
And well, if I'm doing it during the game, which I don't always do, that might be a way to make it quicker. But it would be 4, 5, 6 hours. It could be to do it.
But sometimes you find out things in the weeds.
Right. And whenever I like missed a deadline, I'm like, gosh, I didn't finish it. I got to do it for tomorrow. And I think about it after that because I've been hurrying to get it done.
Part of philosophy podcast
to make it a lot better. So that sucks that when I try and really rush it out, it's not always, there's things I could have done that I would have changed after the fact, but that happens all the time, no matter what I do. But I don't know. I don't know if the Bucks Pacers, it's like the Pacers are just not really ready, to move on, I guess. And the Bucks have experience and deeper experience with more players, and maybe that's part of it. Do you think who do you think is going to win? Do you think the Pacers can close it out?
Yeah, the Pacers will win. I mean, they don't have Dame and Giannis, man. I know they won a game.
Giannis last game, and they did a number on them.
Yeah, you know that. It's the one game bump without your stars. You know how it goes.
Oh, it's only one. Okay.
Yeah. It's not sustainable. The ball moves better when your best player is out. The defense has nothing to focus on. It's a thing.
Interesting. Well, and the Pacers are at home. So all right, you're going to pick the Pacers. I guess I can go with that.
It's going to be Pacers and Knicks.
Okay. And you're going to pick the Knicks, huh?
Yeah, I had Knicks in 6 before the series, so I'm looking forward to pulling out my receipts. I'm good to do that, Coach Nick.
All right. Yeah, they get to on the road. But then again, by the way, you can see how many Knicks fans were in the Sixers last game, right? They were all unhappy.
The Sixers are giving away free tickets now to mitigate.
Right, so they're going to try and stop that from happening. I think
it's a great move.
Yeah, well, you can't have more Knicks fans in
Philly. There was Jaylen Brunson MVP chance.
Okay, so by the way, here's Simius is saying, I might be 45 and know all those references, but I'm not. Oh, so people knew the reference, but they didn't want to admit that they were of an age. I see. Okay, I guess so. Hey, listen, it's not hard to figure out how old I am. I'm old. All right. Anyway, Jamin Giannis might play today. Did you hear that?
No.
Breaking news: Vance Armstrong is breaking news, and it's not his real name, but I dig the reference. Vance Armstrong says Jamin Giannis might play today. I don't know. I did not see that, but I guess I haven't been completely staring at my Twitter feed. But anyway, all right. So I'm going to do that. But okay. Here's the thing. So you think I should be working on the Knicks game while it's happening, and then just try and get it all out? That's going to be tough, man, because it's going to be so late for me to do it in the middle of the night. But you think I should try?
I think you should try and see what happens.
All right. Well, how about this? Hopefully it's a great game, right? If it ends up not being a great game, then maybe I can kind of not do it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But if it's a great game, it's epic, it's interesting, yada yada, then I will stay up and I will, it's not. I'll stay up from what's 9 o'clock or 8:30 till whenever. I can do that. And then you say 6 a.m. Eastern time.
Yep.
That way, I had noticed at one point a while back that was a pretty good spot, but then it stopped being a good spot. So it's like I don't know anymore.
They say that's usually good when people are commuting.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm always thinking about when kids are getting home from school, all that stuff too. But I guess you're right. All right. Well, listen, good show.
Great show.
Great show. Good show. It's a good show. Listen, we might have had a better show at some point in the last several years.
Every show gets better.
Every show is better than the last. Okay. That's the way I should approach that. So anyway, thank you so much, Combo. Always a pleasure. And you changed the trajectory of my day having hung out with you for the hour.
Really, man?
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah, listen, part of it is, when I'm not doing this and I'm just literally grinding for 10 straight hours by myself and not talking to anybody, like that's not easy.
That is true.
This is important. And by the way, everybody out there, human interaction is important, so don't get so stuck.
Probably not ideal on a screen, but I mean, I guess it's something, right?
Yeah. I mean, stuff's going on out there. I don't know. We kind of were texting earlier about, what's going on college campuses. There's a lot of unrest, a lot of unease. And so it's really important to be able to have, interactions with friends and people that you like and enjoy, and remember that that's why we're here.
It's a great message, Coach Nick.
Especially you Cavs fans. You should be a little bit nicer to me, and I'll be nice to you. Just be nice to me. Thank you. And I'll do a video. Maybe the Evan Mobley video is why Evan Mobley made me look like an idiot. Maybe that's the video.
Oh man, we'll see what.
And then it'll just be me like like the screen, me talking and just holding my head and me like.
Not just people throwing tomatoes at you, like just tomatoes.
How about this? Do I put myself on the screen in front of the footage? Ooh. In the corner? Do I do that?
Now you're talking, Coach Nick.
Really?
No.
Because I don't know. I don't know about that one either. The green screens always looks terrible. Like it's not really a green screen. Whenever the cutout, it looks terrible. That drives me nuts. I have a green screen. I could do a real green screen. But anyway, I don't know. All right. Well, we'll keep talking. Maybe we'll revisit this conversation next time.
I'll see you Monday.
I'll see you Monday. I'll see all you guys on Monday. But before that, I'll have some videos. So please go watch them. Feel free to watch the
hit that bell. You got to hit the notification bell. Not only subscribe.
And hopefully it'll still work. People are saying they're not getting notifications anyway, but I don't know. Please have a wonderful weekend. Let's go. Knicks Sixers. I hope that's a really great game. I kind of rooting, maybe for Indiana to win. They're sort of the underdog. And they deserve. They haven't had success in so long. It'd be nice to see them get back on track.
I agree.
All right, well, thank you everybody for being here, and thank you, Combo. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Combo?
Yes, sir.